I got very interesting information from Irwin and Edward Luck that George McEwen of late has been thinking very hard about what Baba has said about the perfect masters. It is indeed very natural on his part to think about the perfect masters, more so when Baba has given explanations about the perfect masters in his books, in his works. I would really want to point out one thing about this, that however much Baba may have explained about the perfect masters in his literature, nowhere, not even on a single occasion, has he come out and ever said that any of the Baba lovers, the disciples or the devotees, should crave for or to go after any of the perfect masters at all. On the other hand, he has come out and said, hold on to my daman. Hold on to my daman till the very end. And what do you mean by end? The end is not when a man dies or when a Baba drops his body, when the avatar drops his body at all. By the very end, Baba means that a man in his human incarnations becomes so developed and graced by the avatar that he eventually is able to annihilate by his grace his mind, which is called Manonash, and merges himself consciously into the infinite, into the Babahood, into the avatarhood. That's what exactly he means. So, I really do not in any way deprecate the urge on the part of our my dear friend George to look for a perfect masters. But I would put the whole point so logically in the light of Baba's explanations and say that the perfect master is really not meant for any real Baba lover at all. Baba disciple, Baba devotee. There may be many in the world who would look for perfect masters. There would be thousands when a time comes that they go to the perfect masters and get benefited by them. But it is not left to a Baba lover to do it at all. How can he balance between the two forces of the avatar, which is a supreme force, by virtue of his becoming a Baba lover, to go and run after, or look for, or crave for a perfect master, on an argument that Baba has some time or the other has given explanations about the perfect masters. In like manner, Baba has given explanations about the yogic states, about the different aspects of consciousness, about different saints and all. All the Baba has explained. Do you mean to say that it is meant for a Baba lover to go after these persons? Not at all, sir. On the other hand, one must be confirmed, convinced of the thought that Baba means him to hold on to Meher Baba's Daman, the avatar of the age, for all times to come, till the very end. He has laid great stress upon it. I may give you a little example. Supposing Baba, or for the matter of that anybody amongst us, gives a beautiful description of a beautiful woman who is the wife of somebody else, if that description were given, does it mean that a man who hears the description should run after that woman or try to possess her? No, sir. It will be entirely illogical. It would not be fair. It would not be helpful to him at all. So, up to the time or when one claims himself to be a Baba lover, a thought about the perfect masters on his part just would be like seeing a drama or seeing a show or hearing about somebody's beauty or power or love and just appreciate it in a general way. It is not meant for him at all. It is not meant for a Baba lover at all. Furthermore, Our Luck brothers who have come 10,000 miles across from the USA have asked me another question. Who is a true Baba lover? It is really as easy as it is difficult to answer this question. However, I shall try to do so as briefly as possible in my own way. It doesn't take anybody any time to understand about love, anything about love. The element of love is within one's heart. Everybody consciously or unconsciously feels it. He knows about it. One is able to express it, one is not able to express it, but the fact that it is there always remains. Now, there are types and types of Baba lovers depending upon their way of life, their behavior, their habits, in the matter of expressing their love for the avatar or for Baba. Love may be expressed or not expressed. It is a thing which has to be felt within oneself very intensely. Baba always gave the greatest importance to love, but he went a step further and said that if at all love is to be expressed, it should not usually be expressed in the way so many really do, by shedding tears or by trying to come into prominence of the people, of being called a Baba lover. Once Baba said that love unexpressed is the best love. He even went to that extent and said that a love demonstrated is an insult to one's love. But because all of us are what we are, we cannot get away from the fact of expressing our love in one way or the other. But the best way to express one's love, as Baba said, is in one's actions. And when love is expressed into an action, it becomes obedience. Love turns into obedience. There cannot be obedience without love, but there can be love without obedience. So, obedience contains love, and that is why Baba always said that obedience is a thing which is most valuable. Of course, eventually for the advantage of the man who has it. Baba, for the matter of that, is himself God, himself ocean. He just helps everyone to break the shackles of this illusion. And everyone responds according to his own capacity. Now, for the matter of Baba appreciating a lover's love, reminds me of an incident in my life. In the very early years, it was as back as 1922. It was practically the beginning of my life with Baba. When I first came in contact with him, and Upasni Maharaj was invited to come and stay in our new house that my father had built in the town of Ahmednagar. Baba happened to be present there. That was just the time when I had come home during my holidays from the college. Of course, I studied in Deccan College, Pune. And during the holidays, during the few days that Upasni Maharaj was there and Meher Baba had also come over there, at that time he was little known as Meher Baba. We all called him as Meherwan, and people said that he was the greatest disciple of Upasni Maharaj. In fact, Meher Baba, according to me, after I came to know so much about him, was not really a disciple in the conventional sense at all, but Upasni Maharaj was one of the 5 Sadgurus who was responsible in bringing a God into human form, the avatar. So, the exuberance of love that he really lavished upon me during my very early contacts with him, when I happened to fall ill and was resting, my mother was so concerned about me, and I felt so much of having to keep absent from all those people visiting Upasani Maharaj, that Baba used to come near me and talk to me, ask about my condition, give me medicines in such a unusual way and with so much of love that it went so deep down into me, and I started comparing that love with the love of my mother for me, with the love of my friends for me and my love for them. And I was so struck with that love that all the rest of the love that I experienced fell into insignificance. And here was the love of the man who was so new to me. Really, I cannot express that love even today. And that was the principal reason why I so much took up for Baba, little knowing that that small contact would practically get me away from my own life and introduce me into my life with Baba. And that's what it happened to be. And probably the response that Baba felt to have gotten from me after he expressed his love for me was very satisfactory. He seemed to be very pleased and so much concerned about me that when he left Ahmednagar and went to Pune and went to Sakori, he kept writing to me, asking about my whereabouts, a sort of keeping an eye on me all the time. And every incident, every information that he asked of me, every letter that he wrote to me amounted to my consolidation of my love for him, eventually resulting in my decision to obey and love him and to obey him all my life. Everybody, maybe is Baba lover or not, has got his own weaknesses. And Baba knows how to deal with those weaknesses. But I honestly tell you that apart from disobeying Baba, any weaknesses that a man may have really does not interfere in his love for Baba or his love for him, provided he always makes up his mind and adheres to keep his hand on his daman and obeys him to the best of his ability.
Did Baba ever speak about his Mandali being the inner circle, the 12 intimate disciples of the inner circle?
Now, since our friend Irwin asks me what Baba said about the inner circle, the outer circle, and still the outer circles, and all about this circle business and circular business, really the whole question goes round into a circle. And the point that begins at one place, it goes into a circle and meets it again. So, what I feel, right in our early contact with Baba, Baba talked about many things about the inner circle, who being in the circle and all that. And then, in the latter period and still latter periods, he absolutely made us forget about the circle so much that we came to a stage we started giving very little importance to this circle business. It was, I think, chiefly done so, because whenever we found ourselves interested in a circle, it was because I wanted to know, or somebody wanted to know where he himself is placed. And so far that acts so much egoistically to the detriment of the spiritual life that Baba made us forget completely about the circle and about the position of anyone being in the circle.
Mr. Adi, can you tell us a little bit about some of the humor that Baba played on you, some of the mischief?
Oh, I think it's our life with Baba, or for the my life, or the matter of that, the life of every Baba lover, the old Baba lover, is an epic of love and nothing else. It is all, as Baba says, the whole entire universe is a great joke on him, and is to express that in the form of humor. He may have played the humor on our life, and he did play it. Whether it was a humor, whether it was an affliction, whether it was a stroke of love, or whether it was a suffering, the one great intention behind was everything was done to the advantage of the lover, and so far it stands good forever. I don't bother with whether it was a humor or whether it was in the general sense what he said came out to be true or did not come out to be true at all. The love that he had and the great intent that he had, the advantage of his lover, stands good forever.
Could you tell us of a humorous incident that occurred between you and Baba? Some incident.
I will have to recall, it's very difficult for me now. There have been many instances where Baba expressed a great pleasure of my having accomplished a certain errand being given to me. It is difficult for me now to really recollect and give you an account of such incidents. If some time was given, I think I would get back a few instances to my mind. But there were quite a number of occasions when Baba really felt and expressed a great satisfaction because the lover, or for the matter of that, I, having done something to his heart's desire, to his heart's content, and expressed that love in actually embracing me and kissing me. Our friends, Luck brothers, want me to say something about this entire house and specifically about this office. I may recall that the entire house, of course, which belonged to my father, and after the partition of the property of a joint family, it came to me. The office holds its association as back from the very time, almost the very time, when the entire house, including this office, was built by my father. Baba, when he was known as Meherwan, Baba when he came to be known as Shri Meher Baba, and Baba when he later on came to be known as Avatar Meher Baba, knows about this office. He knew that a great lot of work was to pass through this office. I was just a medium, the office was just a medium. It was all his work as expressed by him through correspondence, through letters, and through various other activities. There were meetings held here. Baba may have come to this place, I should say, a few hundred times. He used to come and sit in my office. used to come and sit in my living room. And if all of you know, the 3 pictures of Baba that were taken were actually taken in my living room. The first one is where Baba sits on a tiger skin with a reclining position. There is another when Baba sits in a Buddha pose. And the third one, Baba sits like a picture you may have seen of Sai Baba. All the 3 pictures were taken by Pandey, the photographer, the artist, who is also a Baba lover, who actually arranged everything in my living room, and Baba agreed to be photographed over there. So going back to this office, this has been regularly almost a post office for all Baba's incoming and outgoing letters. May they be addressed to Baba directly. May they be addressed to the Mandali living at Meherazad with Baba. May they be addressed to me. So, this was the place through which the incoming letter passed through and the outgoing letter also passed through. The office has been there to look after everything that Meherazad needed, that Baba needed there at Meherazad for himself and for the Mandali. I should say right from a pin to a railway engine. It was always there at his service for any urgent call or for the routine work. Any amount of car trips were done. Many number of times Baba came here. There were darshan programs held here. There were poor feeding programs held here. And the outstanding darshan program was in 1954 in the month of September, after the mass darshan program took place in the town. And the time was not enough for the number of over 100,000 people having come to take his Baba darshan, that the second small or chota program was held in this compound, where nearly 7,000 to 8,000 people came, visited Baba. There were some Westerners who were present here also. And Baba enjoyed the presence of the young, the old, the rich, the poor, and people from all communities who came near him, and Baba lavished his blessings and his love upon one and all. There are so many pictures taken, and you may have seen so many pictures of it. Prominently, on the same occasion, there was another picture of Baba that was taken, and it was right here near the garden. He almost squatted on the ground, and that picture I call my garden picture of Baba. This is almost the exact spot where this picture of my garden, as I call it, was taken of Baba, just sitting the way you can see in the picture itself. And this was during September 1954, as I said, after the mass darshan program which took place in the town, and later on a small chota darshan was taken place where 7,000 to 8,000 people came and visited Baba here. This is the spot where he Before this picture was taken, Baba was giving an interview to some persons who had come from South India, And it was a very interesting interview in which who visited was an eminent man having his own position and views about spirituality, having had no faith in Baba nor recognition of him as the avatar of the age to Baba. He was very much impressed. Along with him was an American, a follower of his, and they had an interview for quite a few minutes. And after that, of course, I requested Baba to have him photographed alone, sitting on the ground. And then he agreed to it. And then the artist Pandey was there on hand, and the picture was taken. And this picture has really become very popular all over the world. It's called My Garden picture. People may know about it as My Garden or not, but it is there. This whole entire place has been graced by Baba a number of times, and the association is of a very, very long standing, nearly I should say half a century. Baba had his original place at Meherabad, but before he went to Meherabad, he came with his disciples here and stayed for a number of days, right in the room where the office is there. At that time, I was very young and hardly realized that the place where Baba is sleeping, Baba is sitting with his very old disciples, would become a place where his work, his activities would be done over there, and it would form a place of all his correspondence passing through, going out and coming in. What is the now for this? If I may go back to 1922 and later, after Baba went and stayed at Meherabad and had opened up a school, Baba Jan School. Once Baba, along with nearly 100 students, came up suddenly to this house and wanted all those students to be fed. Now, my uncle, Sarosha's father, though of a very saintly character, he in the beginning was very much prejudiced against Baba, but on occasion like this, when the food was to be cooked, and he himself was an excellent cook, he undertook the work to do it, to the great surprise of us all, and executed the task of cooking so well that Baba was very pleased and happy with his service. All the students were made to sit on the back veranda of my house, this side, or the back side, and all the furniture was taken away from the place and made room for the boys to sit. And it was a great joy to, along with us, serving the students, and they all of them had a sumptuous meal. On other occasions, when the poor feeding was done, Baba used to come here, and all the arrangements were made pre-hand by us all according to instructions of Baba. And the first round was taken up by Baba, and the first dish was served by his own hand, right from the beginning of the man who sat there to the very end of the row and rows, and then the rest of the serving was done by us all and by other Baba disciples. So you see, the house, the many rooms in this house, the garden, the compound, every inch of this place has been treaded upon by Baba. I should say it is surcharged with Baba's love. It was destined to be born and built up for Baba work. This is the place where the entire records of entire correspondence much of the correspondence that was done by Baba, and he got it done, is stored here. Every time Baba used to ask me to store all the copies of the letters and all the material and the documents here, and they are there. In whatever way they could be preserved, in a poor Indian way they have been done, and they are still there. Against the handicaps of the insects and white ants, many other things, and also the money to spend over it, to keep everything intact.
I have a question I'd like to ask you, Adi. There's a side of Baba's life that is very little known. You once expressed to me that when Baba used to give money and he would find and search out these very poor families incognito. This is a phase of life you once told me about that has never really been recorded.
Iraj knows so about it. Iraj was actually with him traveling. Iraj was with him traveling, and he knows so much about it. You see, I have the record because I had the account of the money that was distributed, and it was taken down by me. It could be, I could dig it out from the older records, that actually Baba took a band of his disciples along with him, and looking for those poor families, the real deserving persons who needed some money to get them a lift in life. Even an amount of 500 rupees was a great fortune to be bestowed upon them, where the entire family was suffering from want of, and a very important earning member had died and they had nobody to rely upon, and the entire family was in a debt. And the debts, like even 25 rupees that was to be paid with interest for years on end, and the principal amount of a paltry sum of 25 rupees could not be paid out. To such a family Baba gave. After making all the inquiries, whether all the facts that were gathered were very truthful and honest, after gathering all the facts and being convinced that the family is really in need of that little financial aid, it was really little, but it gave a great lift, a sum like 1,000 rupees or 500 rupees to a villager. I mean, that was given as many years ago, which would amount to many thousand rupees today. That was a great aid and help.
Were you present during any of the times that Baba...
I was not actually present, but I had to share in that service by keeping the accounts and keeping the record after the whole thing was done, and Iraj and other disciples were there with Baba.
I see. Did Baba do that often?
No, such a thing he did not do very often, but the poor, by way of food or money or their necessities, it was done very much. But this was a very specific way of doing it. Visiting village after village, making specific inquiry, that really no vagabonds posed himself as a poor man and came forward and took the money away. You see, all the inquiries through the office holders in the government office holder village was made, and then the money was parted with, the money was given, and they were greatly helped.
Adi, were you ever caught in a thunderstorm with Baba?
Now, my dear friend Irwin asks me whether I was caught in a thunderstorm with Baba. I would say life with Baba has been a thunderstorm all through. There is nothing to choose between a mild or a strong thunderstorm at all. And Baba has very well expressed in his poem, the translation of which I have done, and I have headed it and called it as The Horizon of Love, in which Baba says that God exists everywhere. He exists in peacefulness, in calm, in a storm, in waves, and in all the unrest and the peacefulness of life. But life with Baba all along has been nothing short of a thunderstorm. It may be physical, it may be mental, it may be spiritual, as you may call it. But Baba always believed to work in a storm. I call Avatar Meher Baba as the greatest spiritual revolutionary ever born. And the beauty of it all was that he kept silent for a number of years, for 43 years, over 43 years. But the aspect of his stormy work never had either an interval or never ceased to exist. In spite of the fact that he used to be in seclusion. Can you imagine seclusion and silence both, and yet a life full of storm for all those who lived and worked, lived near him and worked for him? It's really a wonderful thing. The posterity will gather so many facts and will write a volume on everybody's life with Baba, everyone who lived with Baba and worked with him. So, the question on the part of my friend Irwin doesn't stand whether you are with Baba. He wants some actual incident where it was really a storm or a thunderstorm. But I will have to just fall back upon my old memory or the records to cull out. And offhand, it is not possible for me to give an account of any specific incidents which, according to my friend Irwin, would be a thunderstorm. Ready? The presence of Baba always for me was something like a massive existence, something too great, something too big for me to understand. And yet by the tenderness of his love, I felt so near him that there was nothing out of the way for me to experience when I was in the presence of Baba. A storm of worries I would be loaded with when physically away from Baba. There would be such a great confusion in mind. Many small and big problems would be there, solved and unsolved. And the moment I approached Baba and had a look at him, and he would just ask me, what is it all about? And everything would disappear in a moment. This was an experience which I had every time that I went to Baba. Before approaching him, before going near him, it was a sort of a hell for me. A big storm, a huge burden, a massive weight over my head and mind. And I felt that I would be absolutely crushed under the weight of that worry. But the moment I went near him, it disappeared like mirage, and there was no trace of it found with me at all. This was not an experience that I had one time, a few times, but invariably all the times that I went to Baba and felt that nothing in the world except him exists. My life began with Baba on the principal thought that Baba is God realized, and day is going to come that he is going to give me God realization. And when the question of the importance of the circle members which Baba explained came up, there was an additional thing which I started feeling, and it was that I should be one of the very important members in the circle. Not so much, but the most important. I think everybody who was near Baba may have felt that way. And I specifically remember when Baba was there at Pune in about 1922, and I specifically asked Baba that shall I get God realization? And Baba says, yes, there is time for it and you have to grow. And maybe somehow I was convinced that after my age of 60 years, that this bounty of His grace is going to come upon me. But as we went on living with Baba, the importance of this God realization really faded away. And in the light of Baba's explanations, he said that of course God realization is most important, but the desire for God realization should not be there at all, because the primary condition for becoming God realized is to become desireless. And just as the importance of becoming desireless went on dawning upon me, I realized that it was absolutely futile for me to desire for God realization. And the Baba once explained that why do you want God realization for yourself? You can as well. You may better desire it for somebody else, and that will be a feather in your cap. A long way for you to have treaded the path towards God realization by wishing somebody else to get God realization. And
Baba told you this himself?
Yes. And then Baba says, the more you desire, the less you get it. The more you deserve, the more you get it. And the way to become deserving is not to desire it. So first try to become deserving. Just as Baba has explained in his book, God Speaks also, that do not desire for God realization. Do not thirst for God realization. I beg your pardon. Create the thirst. Do not desire water, but create the thirst and the water will come to you. So if you create that desirelessness for God realization, the God realization will automatically come to you. This is the way how one should win over the grace of the avatar. Today, I definitely know that none of Baba's old Mandali is God realized, and they do not want to become God realized. Francis Brabazon has said, the moment he saw Baba, he felt that he has come to the end of his search. He has come to the end of his search. So, to give God realization for Baba is really just a pittance, a very small thing. He would not give it to you.